Hey friends and family and church supporters. It has been a while since we've done one of these.
Yep.
And Rachel keeps reminding me every single week, hey, we need to send our supporters an update. And so I apologize, we apologize, but we have a lot to kind of walk through real briefly, because I know no one wants to sit here and watch a half-hour video. I get that. So we're going to keep it real short. The past several months, honestly, has been really hard. There has been a lot of what has felt like lows. There's been highs along the way, but it's been a very difficult season with church planning for a number of reasons. Some ministry, some personal within our own lives and relationships outside, and just like there's been a lot of things that I feel like we've walking through that's just been tough. And so even like some of the decisions we've made as a church have come out of some of those kind of difficult seasons. For example, within like the past like 8 months or so, we've had 21 people move out of state. Now, for a church that was like 40, 50 people, that's a lot of people to just be moved out of state. And so there's some things based on necessity that kind of needed to take place because of that.
Yeah, and the biggest thing the biggest change we've made is we have moved locations.
Yeah.
For our fourth time.
Oh gosh.
Third time?
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Depends on when you. Yeah.
Yeah, and
we had the conference center.
Yep.
We've been at Flick's Brew House.
Yep.
We've been at the Hall. We've been at homes and online only.
Yes.
We've been at the Ramada for the last year and a half.
Yes.
So I guess it's kind of our 6th location. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we made the decision a few months back to move locations right down the street from where we were at the Ramada. We are officially now in a CrossFit gym. Yeah. And it's super close to where we're meeting, so we love the central location of where we're at in Des Moines because it's right in the middle of where our people are coming from. But the really good parts about moving to this location is, one, it was a much wiser decision for us financially to move there. 2, it's a more intimate space with a lot more sunlight. There's windows covering the whole front of it, and so it's bright in there. It's homey. It's unconventional, and so meeting in a CrossFit gym is just something that's very unique and different, and so it makes it special for our church family, I think, to be in a place where people work out, but there's nothing going on there on Sundays, and so it's just open for us. And so we have 2 separate spots where we can, the large group where our church family can meet as a large group gathering, and then we have a little lower section where our kids can meet. And challenges with that have just been the safety for our kids. That's probably the number one challenge, is just training our kids to not just jump on the equipment and figuring out how to block off certain things. And I think we're finally in a good rhythm with that. But it's just been a great spot for us to just really focus on our people. And we've grown since we've been there, which is super exciting. But it's a place where we can just really, I feel like, connect to our people better. People stay after church for longer. More people are involved in helping us tear down. It's not as easy to sneak out after church as it was at the conference room, which is a huge space. And it just did not feel as homey as it does in a place where we're at now. So there's some cons to it, of course, but so far we have seen some really good things come out of this move to a CrossFit gym.
So part of the reason we made that decision was because we got a group of our core people together, and we started meeting regularly and just saying, what are we doing as a church? Like, are we just trying to replicate what every other church is doing in the area, or the church experience that we've been raised to know? And so as we started talking about that, looking at the necessity of like our financial situation, and just we've been really strapped lately, and things have been really tight, and so we knew we needed to make a decision. So we kind of made one really as a short-term decision to go, hey, we need to relocate.
Yeah.
So we made that call, and it's been really good. For like you just said, all those reasons, and then some too. We're saving a ton of money being there too, at a space that's working, and it creates intimacy for our church, which is cool. But part of those conversations we've had, is that in these like monthly conversations we've been having with some of our core people, we knew that this move to CrossFit is not the long-term answer, but it was one out of necessity for this season. And since then, we've been carrying on this conversation, kind of going, okay, now that we've made this move, now what's next? What are we doing as a church? How do we actually reach the area that God has us in right now in this Merle Hay part of Des Moines? How do we reach this place with the gospel message of Jesus Christ? And so we're constantly talking and trying to work toward trying to figure out how to use common language all around spreading the gospel. And we're learning from others all around the nation who are trying to figure out some kind of, right now we're calling it kind of a hybrid model between the Sunday morning experience kind of church, which is a lot of our American church backgrounds, and there's a lot of good with that, and trying to find a hybrid between that and what's kind of called a disciple-making movement, or a church-planting movement. And essentially what that means is just it's a movement that is identified by disciples who make disciples, who make disciples, who make disciples to at least the fourth generation. So when your disciple has made a disciple who has made a disciple, then we can kind of classify it as a movement. Is there a hybrid between those two sorts? And so we're trying to honestly wade through that and learn from people who are also walking through that and go, what does that mean for Direction Church? What does that look like for us? And we don't know what that looks like yet. We don't know if we're going to be at CrossFit for a long time. We don't know if we're going to keep doing the Sunday morning model just like we've been doing. Or we don't know if we're going to do some kind of hybrid of we're meeting in homes or we're meeting in other locations in small gatherings to be a church. Or we're going to do some kind of mixture of like, we're going to meet on Sundays once a month and then meet in homes. We're having all these conversations going, God, you lead us. What do you want us to do? How are we best going to impact the community we're in with the message of your Son? How can we reach these lost people who don't know you, who have no idea who you are? Because what's really unique about our location is that we're literally in the middle between Hoover area and Urbandale area. And Hoover is chock full of people, refugees who have moved here from all over the world. The closest high school to where we meet as a church has over 56 languages spoken in that school from all over. And so like I even one buddy in our church even said, Jared, we don't have to go to all the nations like God says, and like Jesus says in the Great Commandment, because all the nations have come to us. And so right now we're putting people through disciple-making training, something we call Direction Plus. We're walking through another training called Zoom with a different group of people. We're starting some small groups, not like how you would a conventional Bible study, but something called a DBS, a Discovery Bible Study. And we have some people doing something called a common meal. We have just these different kind of unique practices. We continue to try to help develop people and make disciples who will make disciples who will make disciples. And so there's a whole lot to that to unpack. We'd love to talk more. Always feel free to give us a call. Or shoot us a text, or ask us in person. Hey, I would love to hear how this is going. Hey, I want to talk more about that or what you shared there. What does that mean? What's that look like? And we'd be more than happy to unpack that for you. But I know this is all probably a little longer than we said we wanted to keep it, so we apologize for that. But I hope it's been helpful. We want to make sure we're doing this more regularly, so please just even ask us, like, hey, can you send us an update? So some of you have done that, and we really appreciate that, and that feels encouraging to know you're there with us too. So
thank you guys so much.
Yeah, love you guys. Bye.